Okay, I think we are live. I'm gonna do the daily astrology for the 27th of today. Doing a little different. Okay, let me know how you if this helps a lot more. First thing I want to say is that the energies on the 3rd of March are going to be all in a weak state. I really feel that the planets have been going direct for some time now, and they have just about exhausted their energy. And there is a higher, I don't know how, a higher something that's really going to show us something that is preparing us sort of where we need to make changes in our lives and in our directions, in our path or paths. So what I want to start with is this is for the week. I'm going to go back later on today and do yesterday, so it will be up there. But this is for the week of the 26th through March the 3rd, when the energies really from the 3rd of March to the 10th or 11th of March are really going to be all negative, weak, struggling, more or less. So let's go ahead and look at, for today, what we're going to be dealing with right here. So the biggest thing that it's showing here for this day, at the start of the day, is the sun in a quincunx with the moon. And it starts at 2:05 in the morning. Now, I find this kind of interesting because I woke up about 2:30 this morning, kind of looking at things and not knowing which direction I'm going, and still questioning myself and things that's going on with me. So I just kind of want to bring this up, that you may be waking up like I do. You're not getting the rest that you need because something here is really trying to get your attention that's beyond this world, to get you to look at things, to question things, and really look at what it is. Now, I'm not going to do for the individual sign because, like I said, it takes too long. It's too time consuming. It wears me out. It's too much energy. I'm exhausting, and I just can't do it. Not to do that and the readings as well. And I still got to get those out coming up for March. So this is the best way for me to do it. But what I want to say is, if you put your sign in this first house, then you can go and know where the other signs are. Count. Look at this one and say, okay, if I put Libra over here, then Aries is going to be over here in the 7th house. If I put Taurus here, that means Scorpio is going to be in the 7th house. So whatever I talk about, put yourself here and then go from there around. This will be good practice for you in learning how to interpret the thing, the chart. Okay? And it's good, when you look at this, to also pull your chart out. And, looking at it visually can help you a lot better. I'm a visual learner, or a hands-on learner. And some people work better with that. And that's great. So let's go and see. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm starting out with what I see at the calendar for that day, where things start, and then I'm going to look at the events that are going to take place because of where we start at, okay? All right, so we have Let me enlarge this. Whoops, wrong one. Okay. Now, like I said, the sun is in a quincunx with the moon at 2:05. I don't have the degrees here, but we're looking at it. It's 8:10. Where the sun is at 8:10. 8 degrees, 10 minutes in. Moon, 8 degrees, 10 minutes in. And they're in a quincunx with each other. Now, quincunx, what is that? It's also called an inconjunct, meaning the energies are not working together. And this is letting you know with the sun, with the moon here, in this conjunction with the midheaven, as above, so below. Look where the lot of fortune is at. It's in here, where your goals and plans are, what you aspire for. But what is it linked to? What is your plans and all linked to? It's linked to Neptune. So there is some illusions or stumbling blocks or what you're trying to build here. Are you fighting against yourself? Because whatever you're seeking here has to do with your emotions. And all this energy over here where there's limitations, restrictions. Let me say this before I go any further. Keep in mind that from the first house to the sixth house has to deal with you. Okay? From the seventh house to the ninth house has to deal with your partnerships, individuality, relationships, your closest friends, these partnerships, your marriage, your loved ones, those individuals that is the we, what we seek, what we desire, what we want as a partner. When we go from the 10th to the 12th house, these are dealing with your environment. These are dealing with society. It's more or less, they call it the we, but it's more or less the us. It's your environment, society, and how it's changing. Your job, you're not married to your jobs. It's you go there. A lot of people glamorize their work or their education or their school. This is where you meet people, but you're more into a group setting. These over here is where you're into that one-on-one intimate sort of relationship. Your best trusted friends or a particular enemy, because the seventh house is open enemies as well, who you know don't like you. They let you know they don't like you. Over here is your hidden enemies, confinement in belief, and what you believe. These are your social groups, your friends. And I hope you're not sleeping with your friends. You know, I remember a few years back, I remember for a long time there, it's been people running around with, you remember the movie Friends with Benefits? Okay? No. Mm-mm. You know, these are your social groups, who you commingle with. But look what's there. Remember, you got to remember too, each one of these planets, Mercury, start out with the sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all of them came across Pluto. So everybody was getting this feeling of a shift, a change. Remember, Pluto will tear things down, and it's going to destroy things in that 11th house. Or where that in Aquarius, I'm not going to just say the 11th house, because it could be different for everybody, okay? I mean, this Aquarius could be over here, right? In your house of relationships. You know, it can be reverse, opposition here. Like this is Leo here, first house. This could be Leo's 7th house. So there's something here in connection that's beginning that Pluto comes in. And I kind of embrace Pluto because Pluto gives us that, hey, things are going to change around here. The boss, things are going to change around here. And I'm going to shake things up real good. I'm going to tear down your foundations of what you thought were your friends. I'm going to make you look at them, and they're going to look at you differently. Your social groups, do you fit in them anymore? Because it may not be for you anymore. We're all going through this thing that Pluto, for the next 20 years, is going to change a lot of things. Now, why? And why you say, MJ, why do you embrace it? Because you know what? Because it makes us take back our power. It has us to say, you need to take control back in your life. You need to be aware of these things you think in your environment that you're building, or your people you're working with, or whatever's going on here. What is real and what is not real? There may be some lessons that you have to learn of what you believe. Because remember, this house, the 10th house, is what we control. This house is friends. We're either we can kind of control it, or yeah, you do have the control over who your friends are, okay? Who you're socializing with, what groups you're mingling with. You can choose to be there or not be there. But the only thing you can really actually control is you. And what you do for your job. You get to choose what you want to do, what you want to be. Or are you being controlled by others? Are you being controlled by your friends? Are you being controlled by your groups? If you're being controlled by others, this is where Pluto comes in and says, well, this ain't happening no more, because I'm going to show you the reality of something here. And when it gets done, it says, okay, it's going to come back one time before the end. It'll leave and go into Pisces, and then it'll come back and say, okay, regeneration, rebirth, all anew. It's going to see if you change things. If you don't, take back your power, your control, and also be authentically who you were born to be. What your purpose was, what your life path is trying to get you on the right path of what your purpose is. You may not even know it. But I feel like we are all connecting now, or going to begin to connect. It's not going to be immediate. But our belief systems are really going to change. And I think we're all going to try, and especially the ones who have learned the lessons, who know sometimes we don't get on the right path till later on in life. And we really realize we've been letting everybody else control us, making decisions for us. And their decisions may not be good decisions, and they're destroying your life. Maybe this is the career you're not supposed to be in. Maybe this is not the social group you're to be in. Maybe these people weren't authentic and they were just going along with you, believing your ideals, your thoughts, or you were a follower and not thinking for yourself. And this is what Pluto's going to do. It's going to give you, it's going to tear things down so that you may rebuild yourself, regenerate, rejuvenate yourself into who you are authentically supposed to be, to put you on the right path toward where you need to be going. And I feel that we all are going to connect with the spirit that's within us because it's calling to us to wake up. Maybe that's why there is so much sleep disruption and we don't understand it. I mean, my sleep pattern has just kind of, gone for Cocoa Puffs, I'm struggling to try and sleep at night or stay asleep. And you've heard other astrologers say, well, everybody's walking around like zombies. Yes, they are. Some of them are. They're not real. They're not authentic people. We've got to connect with the spirit that's within us, the Father and the Son. I saw something yesterday where it kind of hit me, and I went, that's an interesting way of looking at something here. We all say that the sun is the ruler, right? You will hear people say kings are born under that sun. They're rulers. And you can't get close to them, or you try to connect with them, but yet they rule over the kingdom and the realm. But you can't really look at them. And the sun is also known, or the Saturn is known as the father, and the sun is known as sort of the ruler. And this person looked at the sun as the father, the higher being, the God, which I call God. We can't look at God's face because in Scripture it tells us we will die. What happens if you go outside and you stare at the sun? You go blind. You're burning your retinas up. That's why God would only show in Scripture his back, because you can't look upon him. He doesn't want you to die, so he turns so you can see him as he goes. And remember, when Moses contacted God on Mount Sinai, what did he connect God with? A burning bush that was so hot. It was warm, but yet it wasn't burning. But yet he couldn't really look upon it. And Moses only saw him from behind as he went. Now, the other thing they said that kind of was interesting to me was the moon in relation is the son of the Father. He shines the light on the sun. Jesus Christ known as the moon. God known as the sun. Because we can't live. He is the creator. He's the creation. He's what gives us life. Without that, there is no life. Without the light of the Father. You see what I'm saying? I found that really interesting, and I was like, nice way to put it. And that's kind of like what I see. And if you remember, if you know anything about it, some people, that's your choice. You can, go with it or not. I'm not forcing religion on anybody. You can view this or not view it. Up to you. But the moon is also associated with the mother. And if you know the birth about Christ or the conception of Christ, most of his DNA was his mother. But in order to walk as a man on earth, he had to have that one chromosome, that Y, to be a teacher, to be a man. But people adored him. And he was compassionate. He was loving. But like most, if he was not accepted, he walked away. He left where he was not wanted, even by his own people. So he's not a forcer of the faith, but he's a teacher. He's of the Father. He is the Father's Son. And that's why the sun gives that moon that illumination. Brings to light something here. And that's why we focus a lot with the moon as well. We're focused on the sun, who is so much like his mother and so adored around the world because what she gave birth to. I found it really interesting. But like going back to this, with this sun, with this combined energy, we have Saturn. And what does Saturn do? Saturn is that of where we have to work. And how we have to learn to operate within the limitations of society. Remember what I said? This is your career house. This is your education, higher education. This is where you study for your careers, what you're going into. This is your social group. Think of it as like the students on the campus that you associate with. Your friends you go out around with, and the groups you get involved in. Because this is usually about the time when a kid goes to college, they get their college friends, their high school friends, and this sort of thing. So it's that higher education or that social arena. And then this is where, what do we believe? Do we believe that this is where we want to go? This is the house of karma. And what we can believe or what we refuse to believe, because this can also be deviling in some sort of occult, even though it's usually over here with Scorpio. But it's like confinement, hospitals, institutes, or all these other things. It's just where we kind of get stuck. You know, like the hangman. And we're trying to get these different perspectives, or we're trying to learn something here. So we, or that when you talk about hidden enemies, the betrayer as well. Hangman can be known as a traitor, a betrayer. As well. That's why it's kind of known somewhere in there with the hidden enemy. But, this is where we have to live within the society and the limitations. It's where about responsibilities and rules. Saturn's about how we go by those responsibilities and the rules, regulations. What's real, what's not real. It's also having to deal with fears. obstructions, or the limitations. Again, the father, the teacher. So, and we got Mercury in here, and Mercury's in detriment in Pisces. What I mean by detriment, it's opposite its ruler. It rules Virgo. Just like when it's in Sagittarius, it's in detriment because it rules Gemini. And I'm not using the true nodes here. I want you to know that. I'm not using the true nodes. I'm using the mean nodes. Now, you might ask, what's the difference between the true nodes and the mean nodes? The true nodes is the location of the exact moment in time and the moon, sun's connections with the eclipses. It's like, this is where things are right, truly where it is, where the moon or the sun is, their exact location. The mean nodes are symbols of an individual's life path or personal growth and karmic lessons. So I felt like, I'd rather use these. I mean, I can put the true nodes there, but I don't want to clutter up the chart with a bunch of the icons. I feel like these are more important. Are we on the right path? Are we with the right people? Are we learning karmic lessons from the past? Are we setting our boundaries where maybe there needs to be? And I'm going to tell you with Virgo right here, and this, a lot of you might, know this as Lilith, but this is the different Lilith. It's known as, the other one is known as the Black Moon. This one's known more on a personal level. This Lilith is sort of a mean or a mid Lilith. And what this deals with is it connects to your inner shadow. Remember that Lilith, the other Lilith, is what is hidden that we can't see. Maybe from outside in the world, depending on what house it's in. What's being hidden here. And it's not until it connects with the sun that the sun shows light upon it. Illuminates whatever's hidden there that we're afraid of or fear. But this one, it connects to your inner shadow, but also the area where you put your foot down. You set boundaries. You can also and express anger. Lilith, this particular Lilith relates to your inner authority, your sensuality, and your sexuality, as well as how you choose or don't choose to go against the grain and defy the norms. That means like openly resisting something here or refusing to obey. Not going to follow your rules anymore. And it's where the feminine energy for a woman, because a lot of these are connected with, like Vista, feminine energy, connected to Venus in some in their ways and how they nurture the goddess of love. But this particular Lilith defies the norms or defies the normal conventions. She's like, I'm not going to obey. This would be the Lilith that people would say, a lot of scholars say, biblical scholars say, she's the first wife of Adam. She wanted to be equal with him. And we're not equal. By no means. But she puts her foot down. Now, a lot of you, And I, being a Virgo, which went through many, many changes through my life, and I've always said, and I've told others as well, there will come a point in time in your life with whatever you're going through that it's going to be a kill switch or a light switch that comes on that you finally say enough. And Virgos are really, really profound for this. They're known for being analytical. They're known for being very service oriented. They like to help people. They will share their nature. They love nature. They find the resources that are need. They're so focused on details and looking at all things to help others and often not help themselves. They'll neglect themselves to help others. But there will come a time when they'll look at something here and they'll say, I'm not doing this for you anymore. Now, it's easier for them to hit the kill switch when it comes to society. If they got a friend or somebody, that acquaintance they know, that they go and help them, and they don't see them trying to help themselves, boom, done. You got to learn to do it for yourself. Just like a mother. You ain't going to tie your 20-some-year-old son or daughter's shoes for her every day. You shouldn't be. They got to learn to do it on their own. But the Virgo will get tired. But now when they're in that intimate personal relationship, they have that bond with the other person, that one-on-one, that's very connected. And devotion. They are very dedicated and devoted to those people they love. It takes a little longer for them to say enough. They keep having faith. They keep trying to help. They keep waiting until finally something, I always say, something in them, it has to go too far for the Virgo to say, I'm done. I'm done. Can't do this anymore. Doesn't mean they don't still feel something for that person. It's just, they're done. They're not going along with the program anymore. And this, where that Lilith in Virgo, maybe a lot of Virgos are like, I'm done. I'm putting my foot down. I'm setting these boundaries. I'm upset. You have hurt me. You have used me for whatever it is, and that's it. I'm not going to be used anymore. You either change your ways and try to compromise and work together, or that's it. Doesn't mean that Virgo doesn't care anymore, love anymore. Now, this is not specifically for Virgo, but I'm just saying with this particular Lilith being there, it's like, and I'm looking at the quincunx over to the North Node, and with Chiron as well, it's like they need to work on healing for themselves. You go deal with your problems, I'll deal with mine. You work on your healing. If you don't want to work on it, fine. That's your choice. But there's going to come a point when a Virgo says, enough is enough, and I'm done. Physical abuse, I'm done. They'll take so much. I mean, so much. They will give of themselves till finally that switch comes on and says, not no more. And I'm looking at the conjunction from the South Node here. As you can see, that these energies are not mixing. And I'm telling you, they're not working together because this is something's got to change. Uranus is something here has got to be. You either heal your ways to where there can be some success here to move forward and really work on yourself, or can't do it anymore. I can't be around you. It's not, they will disassociate. And that's a good thing. So anyway, like I said, I just wanted to bring out that that I have changed the nodes because I feel like it's more important on our life paths and karmic lessons that we need to learn, and for that personal growth, which is Jupiter. And you can see that Venus and Mars here is in a square to Jupiter about personal growth, expansion, values. Do these groups, do these friends hold any value anymore to you? Do they know your self-worth? Because Pluto is going to be there, for a while. I mean, it's going to go back toward the end of the year. It's going to move back into that 29 degrees of Capricorn. And it's like a kickoff, okay, to regeneration, rejuvenation, rebirth. We're getting ready to go into rebirth because I'm fixing to go here and tear up society to really wake them up. And they better have strength. Anytime you're dealing with Pluto, you better be strong. You better have the strength of a lion or a bear or whatever to handle what is going to put you through. To make you be who you're supposed to be. So you can be the authentic who you are. Quit putting on. People been wearing masks too long. Too damn long. And people getting tired of it. They're just getting tired of it. Get real or get gone. That's the way I look at it. I mean, if you go with, if you're out there, with women, you even realize that with men are now, with the way the women are looking and the way they're acting and the way they're dressing, they're like, nah, I don't want that. Men are turning away from that now. They know. A lot of them are waking up and saying, a girl goes, oh, ain't I pretty? Aren't I, this, that? And he's like, no. You're not real. That's what it is. You're not real. And this is where Pluto says, you've got to be authentic. You've seen the women when they put the jewelry on. They got their hair all fixed. They got makeup on. They got all this jewelry on. They got these clothes on. Their heels and all this other stuff. That is the adornment of something that's masking something, and it's not the reality. When makeup comes off and the jewelry comes off and all that other thing, the dangles and everything else, and it's like, what the heck? That's why, there are signs, the mutable signs are more real because they know about adapting to the change of what's happening. They're not just sitting fixed in a certain way. They're willing to compromise. They're willing to adjust to the change. It takes them a little bit longer, but they will adjust because they're survivals. They're survivalists. Where there's a will, there's a way. Cardinals, they're just known to be like natural born leaders, but I really just can't. Some of them I wouldn't let them rule my doghouse or my animals or anything else. Because they didn't study the art of leadership. You don't lead people into corruption. That's not a good leader. But that's the biggest thing with them. They're just, they're all out for the attention. So this is where that sun is in that quincunx, and it says it's time to get real. And what you thought you knew, like I said, Mercury being at detriment, and it's going to be going on, I think it's March the 1st it will go retrograde. I believe it is March 1st. And it'll go all the way through March in retrograde, or the majority of it. So what you believe may not be reality. And remember, with Pisces and Neptune, the rulership of Pisces, don't trust everything that when it comes to what you hear about wars or what you hear about feuds and all this other stuff that's going on. Because you look at Neptune, where it's sitting at now is in that third decant, and that's Mars. And where's the turn belt? Mars. Where's Mars at in society? Is there a possibility of riots and wars and rumors of? It's always been said there will be rumors and rumors of wars. And in those wars, there will be rumors. One side will say they're winning. One side will say they're winning. You don't know what to believe anymore. Really. It's hard to tell. But don't glamorize it. Anything that is glamour is an illusion, just like Hollywood. They put their little stuff on and they're all out there and, they talk about sharing the wealth and all this. But do they do it? No. No. Mm-mm. They show you an illusion. Make believe. I don't even know if some of them even really know who they are. What are they hiding? It could be an illusion. But what's going to be for this day? Let's go here. On the 27th, like I said, it starts out with at 2:05, with the sun and the moon being at 8 degrees 10 minutes in, and it created an aspect of a trapezoid. All of these here are sextiles. What are sextiles? Sextiles are opportunities for success if you don't get complacent. But you have to mentally activate your mind. But it may be difficult right now because you're not sure what to believe. There is the opposition from the South Node to the Chiron, which is something of success. If you're fooling yourself that some way that your past actions, especially with the moon coming here, okay, and your mood or your attitude is shitty, and you think you're going to be successful at something here? Nah. Mm-mm. There's something about if you want a healthy future, you need to change your attitude. You need to change the way you feel. If you're going around with a negative attitude, if you're going around with negative emotions, all the negativity of the illusions, and you're starting fights or you want to battle about everything, guess what? You're not going to have a healthy future, because Chiron is about health. It's about healing wounds. And I feel like, oh God, hold on. Oh, excuse me. I know he blesses me every day. I feel so blessed, y'all. But it's also saying, don't get too comfortable in something here with the trions. Trions are where we just show your creative self-expression, okay? And it's Venus to the South Node. Show that creative side. Open up your heart. But make sure you know who you're opening your heart to. That's the trick. Don't just give your heart to anyone. Don't sell your soul out for glamour and illusion. And if you notice, there's been a lot of talk with people in Hollywood selling their souls for fame. I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard it. You've been seeing or hearing about the ugly side of Hollywood. No doubt about it. And the light, the sun, is being shown on that. And there is this opposition here. There's going to be some karmic lessons learned here. And we also have Chiron to the ascending. Something about faith, a religion. Something about publishing. There's already a lot of stuff being published. People are actually showing themselves as non-believers. It's okay. But don't sit there and chastise others. But try and show that you just kind of go with the flow. And if you sit here in this basket sort of like, or this trap, and feel like it's all comfortable where you're at, oh, I'll just stay right here. Instead of saying, I better take another look at this, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss what you're not seeing if you don't inform yourself. I know a lot of people that just don't want to get involved in politics. They don't want it. They don't even learn anything about them. How are you making the right choice to vote then? You know, if you're not looking at the person, you're not looking at their agenda, you're not looking at what they're saying and really taking it in and questioning it. And their actions, what they're actually doing. This is a time with this lot of fortune where it's associated with a lot of luck, which has to do with Jupiter as well, but where you can have, with that vista, with that creative energy that you're going to dedicate yourself to, or your aspirations or plans and goals, where you can be really devoted to a cause, a project, a person, or even a belief system here. But look what it's connected to, Vista. Are you really, really looking at something that is real, or is it an illusion? Because it's squaring Neptune. Squares are stumbling blocks. You're either building something here or you're stumbling all over the place. And if it's an illusion and it's not reality, and what you're doing, because Mars is our energy, it's where we put our courage, our ability to take the action. Exposing, and there's a lot of exposure happening. And it's about, with Mars, the desire. And going after something here is your internal drive. And survival. Now, the sign shows how you go out after those values. Right now, it's in that house, the 11th house of society. Is this where men are going to women, masculine going to feminine, and you're going after something here? For what purpose? That would be my question. For what purpose? Because, again, either women going after men or men going after women. Like I said, the sign shows how you go out after what you value. Survival. And the house is where you concentrate this energy. So somebody's going out here in society. I don't know, men and women out in society. And it goes back to that thing what I said earlier. Women going out to men, oh, aren't I beautiful? Aren't I cute? The guys are going, no. They don't value that. When you're flaunting yourself out there half naked, you don't value, a man will see a woman doesn't value herself, so why should he? If a man is out there using women just to get what he can get to survive, he's not going to succeed. Plain and simple. So how do we conduct ourselves in society? We see society is going to break down. And only the fittest, remember the show? Survive. The ones who have the strength, who have learned the karmic lessons, will not sell their values for something cheap and an illusion and a negative. And it's going to take 20 years for society to change, but that's usually what happens. I mean, we got political analysts looking back 20 years. Some of them even looking back a little bit longer. Where did this all come from? Well, we know where it came from. But there's going to be a breakdown, and some people aren't going to be able to handle it. Because their mindset is here. It's where it may take a new complete generation that is being born during this time to completely grow up and say, this is the way it is. It's being a humanitarian. How can I help others? How can I be compassionate? But I'm not going to allow my values for my beliefs to be destroyed. Like I said, we have Mars also in a square to Jupiter. I talked about that, Mars and Venus. The rest of the day is going to be focused with the moon. We got a couple of quincunxes here. We've got a couple of trines here. And we also got a couple of oppositions. And what these are going to show is that when it, come 5 o'clock this morning, I'm not sure, well, what time is now. But we're going to have 4 yods. Y'all, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. I am back. Now this is where we're going into this conjunction, or quincunx, in conjunct, quincunx the moon to Saturn at 9. You'll see the moon here at 9 degrees, 35 minutes. Saturn 9 degrees, 35 minutes. But it's connect with the energy of the sun and Mars. Some sort of limitations here, restrictions, boundaries, reconstruction. Something here has got to change, and you've got to have the strength to make that change. You got to set these limits down. You got to set boundaries down. You got to set it, as much as you hate to, but you got to look. I think a lot of us are looking at things that were illusions that we believed at one time and saying, hey, this ain't real. And what it's showing here is 4 yods. Let me show you what it's showing. Yep. The first one being here, that's going from the sun to Jupiter. And this is good because earth and water mix. And what the apex is over there at the moon, where you've got to make these emotional adjustments to survive something here. And this, we're talking about in the relationship house. You got to find the balance. And the next yod, and this is, it's either called a yod or a yod, okay? But its reference is the finger of God. Remember I said in the beginning, all the energies will be going into this negative. and he's pointing to something here that we should not miss. The next one is Saturn. First it was, it was first the sun shining light on something here of growth, where there can be growth. Look at your values. The next one here is dealing with Saturn. Limiting those things of illusions that are not growth. Something you're feeling, if you're negative all the time, there's not going to be any growth because you just don't see it. Unless you're selling your soul out or your values. And the next one it's showing you here, why I went into all this I went into, has to do with that sextile to where setting boundaries, putting your foot down, setting those boundaries, that Virgo energy, looking at the details. And that midheaven, as above, so below, it has to deal with what's below here. Growth, plans, what you aspire. If you want to have a healthy future, then you're going to have to set some boundaries around you that I'm not going to let these illusions come in. I'm not going to follow what everybody else. And look where the ascending's right there, conjunct with Pluto. It's about control. I'm not going to be controlled. I will not allow to be controlled in the future. To be successful, you've got to stand up for your values and what you really, truly, honestly believe, and be authentic to survive what's going to happen. And believe you me, God talks to us through the universe. That's why he says, look to the heavens. Look to the planets. Look to the stars. That's Vedic astrology with the stars. Vedic to me is sort of like it's two different things. I'm not going to go into all that, but it's the time differential, more or less, is what I was really referring to here. It's like a month behind Western astrology, something like that. I mean, if you go look at a Vedic astrology where the planets are and everything, you'll get the gist of what I'm talking about. This is dealing with that Lilith energy, which is about your individual life path and growth and karmic lessons. Learning them about the people that you are associating with, or something here in your family, your partnerships, that intimate side where you share with other things with this other individual that you would not share as a group. It's more or less the one-on-one. Are you learning something here about lessons that maybe you need to set boundaries? You need to put your foot down and say, hey, look, you can express your disdain or dislike, or even a little bit of your anger. You can express it in a way that's not volatile. Just by saying, hey, this is the way I see it. And saying no more. I want a healthy future. I want a successful future. That is what I desire. And I want to get on the right path that gets me there. And if it means I have to exclude people and go against and refuse and resist to obey what is convention, the norms, or defy the norms and go against the conventions of what people say, Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. No, you need to shut up because you're not paying my bills. You know, you need to shut up because I know what I want. People need to stand up. And I see a lot of people are. And they are putting their foot down. They are setting boundaries. They are expressing their dislike to what's going on. Don't blame them. We're starting to see a start of it. And the next yod we have that God is showing us, He's pointing it. Like I said, that is the finger of God. He is pointing out to us. This has to deal with Chiron as the apex. The other one that we saw here was dealing with our future. This one is dealing with a healthy future. Both of them still dealing with setting those boundaries, expressing, I dislike something here. What you're doing, you're trying to devalue me. You don't appreciate what I am trying to help you with. And if you don't appreciate it, it's like I said, the same thing goes when Jesus Christ was disowned by his own village and his own people. He left there, even though he loved them. He left. He knew where he wasn't wanted. So when you know you're not wanted there, why are you staying there? Why are you following these idiots? A lot of people will say, used to be a saying going around, what would Christ do? He did express his anger. And sometimes, sometimes when we stand up, we got to really raise our voice. And I thought that was funny during the Fannie Willis trials when she was telling one of the lawyers, "Don't yell at me." He wasn't yelling at her. She was the one doing all the yelling. I mean, really, seriously, I've got a lot of questions. I mean, it's like I'm not an idiot. I am not an idiot, and she must really think people are idiots. I mean, there was one I caught this morning where she said she had to think who stayed at her condo and all. And after she'd already said no one, it was just her. If it's just you and it was the loneliest time for you that year, why would you have to think who was there? It would just be me. I mean, that's the dumbest response. Well, I got to think who was there. If you're there alone and it was the loneliest year, there wasn't nobody there. You're lying. If you use the word "I gotta think" when you're saying you're there all by yourself, that is dumb. I mean, as a woman, I don't fall for none of that crap. Because I can tell you, there is women out there, they know the exact day they met their partner. They know the first time they kissed, where they were at. They know the first time they made love. All of it. But she can't remember. Really? Please. Ah, I have to laugh at it. I mean, just the stupidity of it. But like I said, these are the aspects that on this day that is showing us. And I just wanted to bring this out of what's going on here. Of that sun and what's happening on this day. The next one, like I said, it has the 4 yods. Where we're being shown something here. The next one is dealing with the sun in a, or I'm sorry, the moon, which you can see here, the moon, in this quincunx with Jupiter. That's going to at 10 degrees. This will be at 7:37 in the morning. I would have to go 3 hours. 3 hours ahead. Let's see if that put me at the right time. 7:37. Yeah. And what it's showing here, you see the T square. Oops, I'm hitting the wrong screen. You see the T square that's going to Jupiter. Jupiter, going to Neptune. That moon in quincunx with Jupiter at this time. It's showing with Neptune what the aspects it's creating here as well from it is this square, T square, from Neptune to the midheaven with the opposition, or the opposition of Vesta, to the midheaven. Of an illusion. Remember, this is what you believe over here. This is what you're trying to create. But I don't feel like, if you're smart, you will look at this and say, hey, is this inspire me in my plans? Am I going to really devote myself to an illusion? Am I willing to sell my soul for something here which would be no growth, has no values to it, not worth anything? This is where you're either building something or trying to build something, or you're dealing with stumbling blocks at this point of time because of an illusion. What is real? You've got to ask yourself, what is real here? What is it I need, that I'm going to need to put my foot down and restrict or limit? Or how do I reconstruct, because Saturn is about putting the work in and the effort in to build something, but take it at a pace, not in a rush and a hurry, to build it like I want it, so it will have value to it and it can grow. And we also have the yacht here, that healthy future. If you're building something and structuring it in a good, solid foundation, and look where the lot of fortune is. This is telling you, you make this change in your life because this South Node is in a quincunx to Uranus. I'm looking right at it, and I can't even think. But it's like, okay, it's time for you to heal something here in your past because you're on the wrong path here. You want to have this good fortune, good values, good future, then it's time you make a change in your life. You change the direction. Remember, when it goes here or it goes here, whatever direction, maybe you need to change it and build something that is really strong and growth and nurture it. Really be dedicated to it. You can't be dedicated to an illusion. And clearing out the debris out of your life, because that's where the ascending is. The ascending is connecting to this. This is coming up this morning as you're getting out of bed, getting ready for work, getting ready to whatever. I feel like God is talking to us, and He's going to be talking to us, and He's going to be pointing things out. We need to become aware. We need to wake up, not woke, like a zombie with your eyes wide open and you look drugged out. No, awaken with that good look on your face, looking towards something, looking at the details, really knowing what you want to go after. What is it you want to build here? The next thing we have here is only that yacht is still there, okay? Going 14 minutes ahead. The yacht is still the same. You can see it. Still having to do with Saturn, still having to do with Jupiter, nurturing something of your values, believing in yourself. And this time it's to the moon. Moon was there before. The moon is the apex. Emotions. Really loving what you're doing. Knowing that you can do better. Believing in yourself. The next thing we have is I think I know where I messed up. I think there's supposed to be 2 yods somewhere in here. We're going to go up 6 hours ahead in the day. Oh, no, I think that was it's the next one. I think I messed up on the time moving forward. But you can see this is where the moon, I said the double, had the quincunxes here. And we also have here, which is for, a yod that I showed you was there. Now it's the moon trying to Venus. But look what it's still. This up here is bringing the attention too of Mars and Venus to Jupiter. Is this relationship, is this group I'm in, is this friends, do they value me? Do they see my value? Or are they just out to use me for my income or what I have or my possessions? Is this woman only wants me to keep her up for my money, my bank account? Does this man only want me for this or for that, to use me? Because I have low self-esteem of myself, so I'll sleep with anybody. That sort of thing, that may be going on here. Men can be whores too. I'm going to tell you. We all know that. They can be just like, I'm going to say it. I don't care no more. Men can be just as bad and corrupt as women are. And women can be just as bad and corrupt as they are. But I'm seeing with the degrees that here, there's some negativity and there's some conflict within the social climate, within society. I mean, there may be men out there, talking about women, how dumb and stupid they are. And there may be women out there talking about men, how they're nothing but users because they can't get what they want. They don't value, And it's, some of these relationships aren't going to go nowhere. That thing of old friends with benefits, no. Friends with diseases. Your lot of fortune depends mostly on you taking back control of your life. What are you going to allow into it? And what are you going to set the boundaries around? Now, that being said, I'm looking at also here where the other side can be in opposition to you setting those boundaries. And they're going to try you to destroy your plans, your goals, your aspirations you're going to have. because they might not want to see you succeed because they're jealous of what you're doing and that you are capable of surviving whatever they have been putting you through, because you've learned your karmic lessons with this and you prefer to have a more healthier future and a productive, growing future. And they just want to sit back. It's like the little hen that goes out all summer and, in the spring plants her seeds, works the garden, and then she starts to harvest. Well, wintertime, these idiots out there aren't doing anything except sitting back watching you do all the work, but then all of a sudden they want to come in and claim it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-mm. You either be a part of the team or part of the relationship. Like I said, the relationships that used to be, oh, I give 50% and they give 50%. No. Relationships take work. And each individual has to give 100% into this relationship. If you're going to give half in a relationship and not really put the effort in and the work in and negotiate or compromise, people who think, I only got to do this much, no. You're not a 50% daddy and you're not a 50% mama. You're 100% a father and you are 100% a mother. And it takes the mother and the father to create the family. And you've got to work together. Ain't no more than 50% here and 50% there. I mean, you're only giving half the effort. What the hell is that? I sit back and I've listened to younger generations talk about crap, and I'm like, really? Really? That's really what you believe? Come on. Mm, 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 mm. All right. I can't help myself. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. All right, this is where now, like I said, is trying with Venus. Okay. You better really look at these things and not just go along with what's going on over here. If you're dealing with a partner that is just going along with their friends and they ain't putting no effort in here with you, and they don't respect you and don't value you, you better start putting your foot down. And you better start setting boundaries. And you better start expressing yourself. No, you're not going to do me like this. Time to stand up. I'm telling you. You're not going to survive if you go along with the flow. You're going to be constantly used, and you're going to be abused, and you're going to be miserable. And if they want to act like a 2-year-old and throw a tantrum, blow them a kiss and send them on their way with love. Well, look at it. I don't need that garbage. All right, the next one is I got to go up 7 hours. I think this is where I kind of messed up earlier when I was looking at this. All right, I got to go forward 7 hours, which would take me to 20, which is where we're at. And then I've got to go back 6 minutes. Take me to 15. Oh, no, it didn't take me. Maybe it's supposed to be forward. Maybe I did it backwards. Go back there. Nope. Oh, what did I mess up on? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. 7. Go back. Supposed to be 6. I got that wrong. On this software, I don't really particularly care for the movement here. Is that 2015? On the 27th? Yep. All right. We have now the moon going into these oppositions with the North Node and the North Node, your future, and Chiron. And you can see it here, the oppositions that are taking place. It's not really creating any aspects other than what I've already talked about. And still, with this Lilith over here, and this moon, something's got to give. Something's got to change. And if you need to shake things up, shake them up, baby. Shake and bake. Shake them up. Because now this is conjunct. You want victory and you want success. You want a good future. Well, here you go. Change the way you be more optimistic about the future. Knowing that, hey, life's going to change. It always does. I mean, we've been on a 7-year path that now is changing. And the next 7 years is not going to be the same. The next 21 years, that's 3, 3 times 7 is 21, right? Because of Pluto. We're going to go in sections of 7. Every 7 years, things are changing. And it's going to go in 3 stages. And the divine's going to be right there with us the whole time. And all we have to do is when we need his strength, say it, Lord, I need your strength on this day from what I'm dealing with. Lord, every day, wake up and give him the glory that you know in your heart of hearts, he's going to be there with you and he's going to provide your needs, what you need during that day. Might not be what you think you need, but he knows what you need on your path if you're going in the right direction and in the right path. All right, let's go forward again. This final one, I don't really have to because that's it. So we're going to end the day with this opposition about the past. Whatever you're trying to do here, because all we know is the past. We don't really know what the future holds, but we know we want to be successful. So we're looking back at how we felt during the day and saying, is that really going to get me where I want to be in the future? Is that really going to inspire me? Is that what my plan really is? Or am I just fooling myself? Is this really what I believe? Am I going to devote myself to a fantasy, an illusion? And then when Mercury kicks in on the 1st, it begins its retrograde, it's going through its shadow period now. That's why I said it's kind of this detriment in Pisces. Number 1, being opposite of the sign it rules. You're going to start, during this time in March, you're going to start reassessing those plans, those goals. What is real? What is not real? What do I really want? Bringing out what you really truly want, which is reality, into your future. And maybe you've got to change some things. Maybe you got to get away from people and only be around those people that help you and support you in your success. Look at that. It's at 17 degrees. Same thing with Chiron and the North Node. Same thing with the Moon and the South Node. I've got to get on the right path with the right people. And I got to connect with the spirit within me that's helping guide me to a beautiful, loving future and a very nurturing future. And devotion. I mean, I tell you, I guarantee you there's a lot of people waking up thinking. Now, I do want to say, if you are new to the channel, if you would, please hit the subscribe and the bell for notifications on uploads or live feeds. Don't forget to give a thumbs up on the videos. Also, share the links with friends or family. Also, give someone a hug and love to others who need it. Because you don't know what other people are going through. You see somebody having a hard time, struggling, give them a hand. Help them out a little bit. Okay? It's not hard to do, to give a kind word to someone in need. And I will leave y'all with that. Thanks for being with me.